You've made good homemade pizza before, but something was missing. Maybe the crust lacked air, or it was a bit burnt and undercooked at the same time. Or it could just be that it didn't taste right. Most people accuse the oven, but after hours of testing and research, I think homemade pizza can fail in three completely different ways: the dough, balance, and heat. And even improving just one of those factors can make a huge difference, even without a pizza oven. So today I'm going to be sharing what I found, and we're going to be testing the heat side of the equation. So is a pizza stone actually worth it? And can a regular barbecue become a pizza oven?
Okay, so we've got our recipe here, which you can see in the description for today's video. And yeah, we're going for, well, just a dough recipe. We're going for a 65% hydration, which is very high if you've not used it before. It is incredibly sticky. So this is the major thing that I found that I think helps so much with improving your pizza is a very high hydrated dough. So before, the doughs that I was using were nowhere near this hydrated. They were a lot easier to knead, a lot easier to work with, but the results were not the same. So yeah, with this really high hydration dough, it is just so sticky, and look at it. It looks like a big, horrible, sloppy puddle. So when it comes to kneading it, you need to knead it with olive oil. So my hand was covered in oil, and then the dough is covered in oil. And then when it starts to become really, really sticky again, this is when you add more oil, so you'll be able to handle the dough. You can see here, it starts off really quite lumpy, and now it's already starting to smooth out. So I kind of rested it for a bit. I wasn't too happy with it, so I started to knead it again. So I think this is actually slightly above 65% hydration, which I will talk about in a little reflection that I'm going to do at the end of this video. Okay, so now it was rested overnight, and you can see here it looks a lot better. You can see there's really big, long strands of gluten that formed. And yeah, we're going to be doing 3 pizzas today, so I'm splitting the dough into 3. Then shaping the dough. So once you've got it into the third, you don't do any more kneading. That's really important. So all the kneading happens before. Then you bulk ferment it for 24 hours, and then you shape it. So you just basically pull the corners and tuck the corners, keep tucking the corners in, and then you ball that up. Then you leave it to get to room temperature. So for about 2 to 3 hours, depending on how hot it is, before you start to make the pizza shape. So I'm just very gingerly trying to stretch out the dough. So you do not want to use a rolling pin. So this is another thing I've discovered. You do not want to use a rolling pin because it pushes out all of those lovely air bubbles that you can see we've got here. So it pushes the air bubbles out, and you're not going to get the big bubbly crust that pizza is known for. So you're sort of slowly rolling it out, or not rolling it out, stretching it out. Then I found, because my pizza slider thing isn't very good, it's too thick, I found it's better to make the pizza on the slider so you can easily then slide it onto your cooking device. So our first pizza is a nice simple mozzarella. So the tomato base was made earlier. Again, the recipe is in the description. And we're going to see how all the pizzas look at the end. So we're going to be making 3 pizzas. You can see there's quite a lot of holes. So this dough, I don't know, I wasn't really happy with it, but we struggled through. There was too many holes, so I've just reshaped it. We're going to leave that for about another hour before we use that. So moving on to the third piece of dough to then shape. So you can see here, you kind of want to just literally just stretch it out as best as you can, but rustic is the aim of the game, so it doesn't have to be perfect. But this dough, I don't know why, in all my practice attempts, the dough was so much easier to work with, but this was a real struggle. But I'll talk more about that at the end of the video. You need lots of flour, so lots of flour when it comes to stretching it out. You don't want it to be sticking. And then you want it to be pretty thin, but again, if it goes too thin, then you get a hole in it, which is not ideal, so you kind of need to start again. Then don't want to be adding too much to the pizza, so this is what we'll be talking about later. So thinly painting it with passata, and then this time we're going to see what our pizza will look like when it's quite heavily loaded. So compared to before, the first pizza was just mozzarella, but this we've got a bit more mozzarella, quite a lot of mushrooms and onions. We'll see how that changes the game. And then this is getting cooked in the cast iron pan. And now, yeah, the dough that failed before. So you can see it's a bit tougher. I can definitely feel it's a bit tougher. So it's not rolling out, it's not rolling out, it's not getting stretched as easily. So the gluten hasn't relaxed. So this is like the main difference, but it does still work. Just needs a little bit more effort to get it into your pizza shape. But we won't end up with any holes. So that's the most important thing. So yeah, so the key thing really was the dough is the high hydration, fermenting it overnight, and then yeah, shaping it, bringing it up to room temperature, and then stretching. But if when you stretch it, when you stretch it out, a hole is formed, you can just reshape it. It really is not a problem. Okay, here's our third and final topping. So we are going for a bit of mortadella, and yeah, mozzarella of course. And this is going to go on to the barbecue. So we'll see how well the barbecue cooks the dough. Okay, there it is. Okay, so here's our first one with the pizza stone. Look at that lovely rise in the crust. And it is nice and dry, not a big sloppy mess, so perfect. Here we have the one in the cast iron pan, so it has worked very well. The base is cooked, but it is a little bit sloppy, you can see that. So we have added too many toppings, and the barbecue has burnt on the bottom, and it's not really that well cooked on the top, but anyway. Let's see how they cut, and I will go and slice up, ready for the taste test. So they're all cutting very nicely, and look at how thin that dough is. It is incredible. Okay, and here we have our 3 slices ready to get eaten. Alright, taste test time. So let's go for, well, I guess in order of cooking. First one, look at that, very thin base. Really nice. And yeah, beautiful crust. That's well enough. Okay, second one. A little bit soggier, but still looks good. Very nice, and again, so much air in that crust. Maybe slightly doughier. And finally, the makeshift pizza oven. So yeah, one side was burnt, still got it here, a little bit burnt. And yeah, maybe not quite as cooked on the top. Still very good. Yeah, probably the crispiest bottom, but slightly doughier crust. So I guess the winner was the first one with the pizza stone. But I think a very close second, and if I didn't add so much stuff to the top of this one would have been a very, very close second. Okay, so I thought I'd try a little reflection, just to really hammer home the main points of what you should be doing when you are making pizza at home. So first thing, the dough. I slightly messed up with the hydration of the dough, I think, after thinking about it. So I was complaining a bit when I was making it that it was really sloppy, not like it was in some of the practice videos, and I think that's because I accidentally added too much water. Not a huge amount, but a little bit more. And I think that really did have an effect on how hard it was to knead. So yeah, the higher the hydration, the better the crust, the more puffy it gets. So it did come out really nicely, but it was like really hard to work with and kind of tore a little bit, as you saw. So I did, there's a little bit behind the scenes, I did have to do it again because I wasn't fully happy with the thumbnail. So the thumbnail pizza is actually a different pizza to the one that I tasted. But yeah, they are very similar. But that definitely was a 65% hydration. and that crust just wasn't quite as puffy, but it was a lot easier to work with. So there we go. Hydration in the dough is really the key thing, but yeah, anything above 65% and it is a nightmare to work with. And then point 2, yeah, the balance of everything. So we saw from the mushroom pizza that was really quite loaded with the toppings. So the more loaded you go, basically there's more water on top of the pizza, which when you heat it up, that sogginess comes out, and yeah, you end up with a bit of a sloppy mess. Not that it was the end of the world. When it cooled down a bit, it wasn't as sloppy, but yeah, just something to be aware of. And yeah, and what I did do in the making of the video was I did dry the mozzarella in the hope to try and reduce that. So if you want to go for the extra nerd step, then that is an option. And then yeah, finally with the heat. So the big question was, do you really need a pizza stone? I would say no, you do not really need a pizza stone, but you do need something to conduct the heat and send that to the base of the pizza. So just a regular old oven dish won't cut it, but the cast iron pan did actually perform a little bit better than the pizza stone. So yeah, if you don't have a cast iron pan or a pizza stone, I would definitely get the cast iron pan, because you can do so much with the cast iron pan. But what I did find is in previous tests I had the cast iron pan lower down in the oven, but during the filming I had it higher up, thinking that would make it a little bit better, but I was wrong. So with the pizza stone, you want that as high up in the oven as possible to get it as hot as possible, and then yeah, the cast iron pan, you want it a little bit lower in the oven in the middle, so you're getting yeah, a greater circulation of the hot air, and your toppings will cook. So yeah, so the key thing with the heat aspect is you want heat from the bottom and you want heat from the top. And what the pizza stone does, or the cast iron pan, is it really gets loads of heat into the base of your pizza. But yeah, the really key thing is you want your oven to be as hot as possible. You want to turn it on maybe at least half an hour to an hour before, and you want it on the maximum setting. So it doesn't matter what oven you've got, you want it as hot as you can go. And yeah, that is really going to be the secret to the success of the pizza. And then with the yeah, trying to use the barbecue as a pizza oven, well, that didn't go so well. But that honestly was my first attempt. So I would like to give it a go. And if you want me to turn that into a video, then yeah, please do let me know. But yeah, the reason that didn't really work is there was too much heat from the bottom, basically no heat on the top. So you do need both for an effective pizza. All right, so there you go. Like I said at the start, make sure you try at least one thing the next time you make homemade pizza, and you really will be happy with the outcome. So thank you for watching if you made it this far, and I will see you in the future. Bye.